5W30.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I'm Davis Allen with your UWF Argos update. Week 1 for UWF football is almost here as the Argos prepare to take on the Carson Newman Eagles this Thursday in Carson Newman. Will Kennedy will have the call for ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Kickoff will be at 6 p.m. UWF women's volleyball and men's soccer will also be getting their seasons underway this Thursday as volleyball takes on Western Washington and soccer will be taking on the University of Tampa. And the UWF men's cross-country team will start their season ranked 8th in the Gulf South Conference in the preseason coaches poll, while the UWF women's cross-country team, they will be starting their season ranked 6th. Both cross-country teams will start their seasons on September 7th at West Alabama. I'm Davis Allen with your UWF Argos update on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
It's not working. I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then?
And then nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hey, Chad Berliante here from the Sports Drive. Well, mixed bag in the South in college football this week. Not the best overall week for the SEC, but Alabama and Georgia continue to win. While in Tallahassee, more domain names are being bought, like FireTaggart or FreeWilly.com. Probably don't want to Google the last one. Awesome to see a record-setting performance from Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma, much sooner than many expected. And Bo knows comebacks at Auburn. I'll join myself and Joe Ford 5 to 7, Monday through Friday, for the Sports Drive, right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5 is accepting applications for employment. Periodically, we have openings in sales, business, news, promotions, engineering, production, and programming. We'll keep your application for consideration when such an opening occurs. We also provide internships to qualified students. Apply online at ESPNpensacola.com or at our studios at 7251 Plantation Road behind University Town Plaza on Davis Highway between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. ADX Communications is an equal opportunity employer.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5 is locally owned by the ADX Communications Group. That includes News Radio 92.3 and AM 1620, Cat Country 98.7 and 1330 WEBY 99.1 FM. This means that we have the staff, the experience, and the generators to get you through the storm before, during, and after. We care, and we're ready because we're local. ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
It's almost fall, and that means football. And ESPN Pensacola 1330 is all about football. We've got UWF Argos football every Saturday, high school football every Friday night. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 WEBY Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome into the program. It is Talk Football with Coach K. Coach K and Joe Ford in studio with you as we are at Wednesday and one day away from kicking off the NFL's 100th season. Bears and the Packers getting the season started. Can't wait for that. And a busy weekend of college and the NFL. And Coach K, always a joy to be with you here, sir. A lot to get to today.
Same here, Joe.
And we're going to start looking ahead to week 2 and breaking down some of those games. I guess going through the NFL schedule and for week 1 and the college football schedule for week number 2 as well. Plenty to talk about, though, as far as contract situations getting resolved. It was at this time yesterday that I said that I believe that at this point here today, Ezekiel Elliott would be signed, sealed, and delivered, and that is the case. 6 years, $90 million. That is the extension. $50 million of that is guaranteed. So Coach Ezekiel Elliott is on the practice field today, and be interesting to see how much playing time he gets as the Cowboys take on the New York Giants Sunday. That'll be a 3:25 start time, but no surprise for me, especially after Zeke was on the plane headed back to Dallas from Cabo, that his deal was going to get done. So now the attention, I guess, turns to Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper as they are the next ones in line to get extensions here. So Coach Zeke Elliott, the horse of the Dallas Cowboy offense, is now under contract for 6 years on top of the 2 remaining on his rookie deal. So pretty lengthy extension in terms of just the numbers, although the guaranteed money is $50, so a little more than half of the $90 million contract that's being thrown out there. But $50 million, that's the most for the running back position, so whoever would be next man up in the running backs.
Well, thank goodness they've got it done. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired of hearing about the contract negotiations with Ezekiel, but it's probably good they got it done. But it's not going to last 6 years. You know that.
Right.
2 years, and he'll want to renegotiate again as soon as the other salaries come in. It's a matter of who respects me now, which is ridiculous. But anyway, that's what we're looking at.
And, Coach, we talked about this a little bit, but you were highlighting Wednesday as being the crucial day in order to really get a sense of whether Zeke would be able to play on the field. So Wednesday, and first, I guess I would be curious to know how it was in your day, and I would imagine it probably not a lot has changed. But over the course of the week, I believe Monday is still the off day for players, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So walk me through a typical NFL week when it comes time to game week and game week preparations.
It varies to some extent with the different teams. Now, we always had, with the Rams and the Bills, we always had Tuesday off. We gave them Tuesday off. Monday, we brought them back in after a Sunday game. Let's say the game's played on Sunday. And you bring them in on Monday, take care of the bumps and the bruises, and make sure that your doctor and your doctors, plural, and trainers have had a chance to evaluate whatever nicks and bruises and injuries we have. And the treatment is set for the week, okay? So that's important to get that done. Usually try to take them out and just loosen them up. They're going to be stiff and sore. Stretch them. Not run them hard at all. Just jog a little, work up a little sweat. Most of them went in and took a sauna and that type thing. And some of them went right to look at film. It's a little early yet. And then we gave them Tuesday off because we, as coaches, worked all day Tuesday and started Monday night after we got the players out of there. And we went all day Tuesday. It took all day until maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday morning to get the game plan set for that week. Now, that's only part of the game plan, not all of it. And then Wednesday, the heavy preference was on offense. Thursday, heavy preference on defense, or vice versa. You can change them around. Heavy emphasis on defense first, which some teams liked, because defense was a little simpler plan to put in place, and gave the offense a little more time and it got him closer to game day for more of the intricacies that you see on offense. And then that took care of your base offense and base defense those 2 days. And then, of course, there's film work. There's work in the meetings all morning. You go out in the afternoon, practice. And then Friday, we usually did the red zone, inside 20, 10, goal line, short yardage, coming out, going in, 4-minute offense, 3-minute, 2-minute, all the situational play, last play of the game, last 2 plays of the game, so you get every situation in play. And then Saturday, we had just a walkthrough review and a review of special teams. Now, each day we would take a special team too, like punt team on Tuesday, or Wednesday, punt return on Thursday, so on and so forth, right through the week. But a review of everything, special teams and offense, defense, just a walkthrough on Saturday, jog through, whatever. No brushing or hitting of any type. And again, going back to that hydration, starting them on Tuesday and Wednesday, the hydration for the week, and the other things that you'd want them to do. And then, of course, then there's game day. Saturday nights we kept them in a hotel, whether we were at home or obviously away. And then game day, and that went week after week after week that way.
So looking at the situation, specifically talking about Zeke Elliott, I know that there's a lot of question, whether you have him on your fantasy team or you're just a Dallas Cowboy fan, is what might we see on the field as far as Zeke Elliott. I know there was a report to NFL Network. They let it out that they were not anticipating Ezekiel Elliott getting more than about 20 to 25 reps over the course of the game. So that wouldn't be necessarily carries. That would just be snaps on the field. Now, looking at Zeke and what your expectations would be for him, where he hasn't been there throughout all of training camp. We know that he's been working with Marshall Faulk, and I'm sure that he has a staff of trainers that he's been working with to stay in as good a shape as he possibly can be. So it's not like he's walking into to Cowboys camp today. You would hope anyway, but looking at Zeke, I mean, he's kept himself in fine shape over the course of the last couple of months, but he hasn't been on the field. So your thoughts on the Zeke Elliott we may see on Sunday, and you're not necessarily concerned as much, or at least I wouldn't think you would be as concerned with the playbook necessarily, because he's probably had access to whatever plays that they've been working on.
They've been talking to him. They've been talking to him about that.
Yeah.
And that won't take long to reacquaint. But I'll bet he's going to play 75% of the ball game. That's my guess.
Okay, very good. And looking at another contract situation that got not really resolved because there wasn't really an issue, but the Los Angeles Rams tying down Jared Goff, former first-round pick, giving him the most guaranteed money in NFL history to the tune of $110 million. I think it was last year Carson Wentz signed an extension with the Eagles that paid him upwards of $100 million. So Jared Goff, who went one pick higher, is now tied down to the Los Angeles Rams through the 2024 season. So quite the hefty sum, but I think they have a guy that, along with the outstanding defense and Todd Gurley and the wide receiver, Sean McVay, was able to help lead the Rams to a Super Bowl. So good money well spent by the Los Angeles Rams, you think?
Well, I think so. I think getting a young quarterback that you're pretty certain is going to be your, franchise player, franchise quarterback for many years to come. Certainly, hopefully, avoid injury. But you need to get him wrapped up now. Of course, these salaries and guaranteed monies and so on just floor me. I can't comprehend even thinking about them. But At any rate, whatever it takes, it's all relative, I guess. It's money that is flowing, so it's relative. And I think to get him tied down, Joe, is something they needed to do.
And the Atlanta Falcons also keeping tabs on the Julio Jones situation, freeing up about $5 million in cap space. We mentioned that yesterday in talking about the Dallas Cowboys, in that their recent agreement with La'el Collins freed up about $6 million in cap space there. So the Atlanta Falcons have converted salary to signing bonus for a couple of players, including the offensive tackle Jake Matthews there, along with Ricardo Allen, the safety. So they're still working on getting Julio Jones signed long-term. So those are the big three contractually stories, themed stories anyway, that we've been following here today. Your favorite player in the NFL right now, Antonio Brown, making news again.
Being facetious, I guess.
Yes,
it's part of the game.
It got the chuckle, which was what I was looking for there.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown posts to his Instagram, and Coach, I would love to see you be the head coach of a team with a guy like this on here, because you're a no nonsense guy. You're not putting up with any of this stuff. We've heard that, and so Mike Mayock, general manager of the Oakland Raiders, sends Antonio Brown a letter stating that on a couple of occasions, due to missing walkthroughs or missing a practice, it was an unexcused absence, that the team is fining you to the tune of around $53,000, right? So Antonio Brown can't just accept the letter for what it is and just go about his business. No, of course not. He has to let everybody know. So he posts the letter to Instagram and says, quote, when your own team want to hate, but there's no stopping me now, devil is a lie. Everyone got to pay this year, so we clear. So I'm not exactly sure what Antonio Brown means by that, but he is clearly not happy with the fact that he is being fined. He is putting the letter on Instagram. He is putting his personal feelings on Instagram. So, again, we thought we were past the drama that showed up so often in the preseason with the helmet issue, with the feet issue, and now 3 weeks before the season, he is airing his dirty laundry, his grievances that he has not only with the league but now with his employer, the team, on the Oakland Raiders there.
Does that surprise anybody?
It does not.
It should not surprise one soul. That is what you're getting. And when you bring somebody like that in the locker room, Joe, what you really have to be careful of is the tone and tenor being set in that locker room. Can ruin a football team if you're not careful. All he has to do is keep up that anti-team, anti-football, anti-NFL attitude, and it rubs off on some of especially the younger players, because they don't know better. They're learning from basically from older guys. They don't know a lot. So it's not good. It's bad. I'm not surprised at all. Thank goodness they're fining him, which they should. And I didn't understand anything he posted there. I couldn't. It was jibber jabber.
I saw a lot on Twitter from people that either follow the league or actively questioning the decision by Mike Mayock and the Oakland Raiders to fine him, saying that talking basically Antonio Brown is your star. Is this really necessary? Kind of looking at the violations and saying, well, is this really a big deal? Well, in my opinion, yes, absolutely. If you're trying to build and establish a winning culture, you have to set the precedent that, hey, this is not going to be tolerated within the framework of the rules of the league that allows us to the CBA, which the teams and the players negotiated and agreed upon. We are within our rights. We are certainly within our means to take action for these offenses, and I see absolutely no problem. I'm finding a guy who misses a practice or an unexcused absence. I mean, every time. I mean, you just can't set.
Well, what are you going to do if you don't do it and somebody else on the football team does something that they're supposed to and would expect to get fined, and they get fined? You don't think that they and their agent are going to go straight to administration and all you have to do is, what would the best coach in football do? What would Belichick do? You don't have to ask another question about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll take a quick timeout, look at more in the NFL and college football as we are getting closer to week 1 of the NFL season. It starts tomorrow night. Bears and the Packers will dive in on some of the NFL games that we are looking forward to seeing the most. By the way, with the programming, with the signal change here, as we are on 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, we do have a new studio line. That number is 623-1330. Again, 623-1330, just like our signal there, 1330 AM. So 623-1330. Again, you can get registered all through this week, through Thursday, tomorrow, for your chance to win a pair of Florida State Seminole tickets to their game on Saturday. So during this show, today and tomorrow, when you hear the war chant for Florida State, give us a call, 623-1330, to be registered for a chance to win a pair of tickets to Florida State's game this Saturday. We'll take a quick timeout. Back in a moment. Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Lowe's makes it easy for pros like you to get more of the supplies you need and at the right prices every day. Like 20% off in-stock GAF or Owens Corning shingles when you purchase by the pallet. Get 10% off select plywood when you buy 48 sheets or more. And whatever size the job, you can be sure to find the quantities you need in stock. Order at lowesforpros.com and have your order delivered or pick up in store. Our dedicated pro loaders will load you up and get you back to the job site when you're needed most. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Selection varies by location, U.S. only.
Playoff baseball has made it to Pensacola. Catch the Pensacola Blue Wahoos take on the Biloxi Shuckers in Game 1 of the Southern League playoffs on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. On Thursday, catch Game 2 on our sister station News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. Then catch the rest of the series on Pensacola's home for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Listening to Talk Football with Coach K. Joe Ford and Coach K. Stevenson in studio here as we're looking at the NFL schedule, college football schedule, games that we are looking forward to seeing as we're just now a day away from the Bears and Packers kicking off the NFL season. And,
I might break in just a minute here and explain to our listeners that we've got this is very, very busy schedule now that football season is cranked up, and we've got both college and pro. And we also remember, we have a high school segment on every Thursday. We've got another interview coming up this week. It's going to be difficult to get to all this unless we start looking at certain games maybe on Wednesday. Certainly we'll cover other headlines and news going on in either or in high school. So at any rate, we're going to have to kind of take that approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Thursday around 12:15, Brian Ahatz with the PNJ joins the show looking at all of high school football top action here. Programming note, we have Escambia and Pine Forest, two teams that we saw back in Week 1. They are our featured game, and that will be on our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. And, Coach, you mentioned not only with just the packed football schedule as far as our broadcasting is concerned, but we also have Pensacola Blue Wahoos baseball. Postseason game number 1 is tonight, 6:35 start time there out in Biloxi. And, of course, we will have that game on right here, ESPN Pensacola 1330 and 99.1 FM. So, looking at the NFL schedule, and we won't go through all the games as we'll kind of spread them out over the course of the next 3 days here, but do want to leave plenty of time for college games as well as interviews and other features that we have throughout the week here. So, Coach, taking a look at the Week 1 schedule, we'll take a deep dive at the Bears-Packers tomorrow. But looking ahead to Sunday, I'm just curious to know of the games that are on there. I think there's 13 games in the Sunday schedule there. Any of them kind of standing out to you? Not necessarily the premier ones, because we're all going to watch the Steelers and the Patriots. We're going to watch the Monday night games as well. But any of those really stand out due to various off-season storylines or roster additions or subtractions that you're looking at to really hone in on?
Yeah, right off the bat, I'll tell you, huge game. Two outstanding football teams, Atlanta at Minnesota. You're talking about Atlanta, one of the best, most talented offensive football teams that I've seen in a long time. And Minnesota, the same, but they've got that. I think Minnesota's the better all-around team right now, the way it looks, because of their defense being very sound and their special teams and so on. And at home, you would think Minnesota might have an advantage, but Atlanta can put up so many points on anybody in the National Football League.
Atlanta is really interesting because you're right. They should have, anyway, one of the best offenses in the National Football League. Starting this one on the road, both you and I agreed that the Vikings are our favorites to come out of the NFC North, which we believe is the best division in football this year. The Vikings always play really good at home. It's a really good atmosphere there. I'm really excited in this particular game. I want to see vast improvement out of Kirk Cousins in year 2. I want to see what the offense looks like, because we know what Kirk Cousins is capable of. Now, whether or not you necessarily believe that he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback remains to be seen. But they have him pegged down for, I think they gave him $84-something million guaranteed a couple of seasons ago. And we remember just when we heard that announcement about Kirk Cousins being paid that much guaranteed. And now just 2 years later, we have two quarterbacks in Carson Wentz and Jared Goff who are now past the $100 million guaranteed. It just shows how quickly the salaries keep increasing. But I digress on that. They had a lot of success through the air last year with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Dalvin Cook wasn't healthy. But I really believe, and all the word out of Minnesota is that the Vikings want to be a smash-mouth football team. They want to run. They want to use Dalvin Cook a lot. They want to play off of play action and put Kirk Cousins into better situations that he's more comfortable with. So I want to see what the Minnesota Vikings offense looks like in year 2 of Kirk Cousins, and hopefully we get a healthy Dalvin Cook throughout the year.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the real key there. I'm guessing very strongly that Minnesota will take the approach of run the ball first, play action pass, throw the tunnel screens and the quick throws inside and out, extension of the run, keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving, keep that defense fresh, and give their defense a chance to win ball games. Now, their head coach, keep in mind, is a defensive guy all of his life, and a good one, a very good one, Zimmerman.
Yeah.
And that's going to be his philosophy. I've never known a defensive coordinator who didn't take that approach. Rest my guys, keep those offensive guys out there, don't put us in a bad position, don't turn it over, blah, blah, blah. All that is just typical, and it's true. But I think that's the way Minnesota wants to play. Now, the contrast to that, Joe, and the reason this is such an interesting game is, I said earlier on, Atlanta can score against anybody, and they can. If Atlanta scores, which they're going to do, you've got to have enough offense to keep up with them, at least give your defense a chance. Yeah. And the only way you can do that is to keep up with them score-wise. So you're going to have to loosen up a little. You got to loosen the reins and give them a chance to run with the ball, throw it down the field, put it in the seams. Those are tough passes. Sometimes you get them picked off if they're not right on the dime. So that's what I see in this ball game is really a chess match. And if Atlanta gets out, certainly if Atlanta gets out early, Minnesota's going to have to be able to utilize that offense to the fullest. Now, they're not a total loss offensively, Joe. They're a good football team offensively. And that's why I'm picking them to win that division, because I think they got an outstanding defense and they got a good offense, good, sound special teams. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. See if Atlanta's defense, since the head coach now has moved back over to defense, see if Atlanta's defense has caught up some with their offense.
Another game in the noon window that I'm looking forward to seeing is the Chiefs at Jacksonville. And really, this has nothing to do with the Kansas City Chiefs, although they should have the best offense in the sport once again. But I really want to know, what Jaguar team am I getting this year? Am I getting the team from 2 years ago that had the Super Bowl caliber defense with just enough good enough quarterback play? And then where is Leonard Fournette's head at? Is he all in, and is he going to be raring to go in now his third season? Or am I getting the discombobulation on the offensive side of the ball from last year? They brought in Nick Foles. The defense should be really good once again. So this is a really interesting game. I think this will probably be one of the better games, especially in the noon window, Coach. Kansas City at Jacksonville. Looks like we're going to see Jalen Ramsey shadowing Tyreek Hill throughout the game. Still have Travis Kelce, still have a lot of speed. that the Jaguars defense will have to keep their eye on. But this one, for me, is one of the better games on Sunday afternoon.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's going to be a very interesting game, and for exactly the reasons that you talked about, plus the fact that if Jacksonville does return to their defensive effectiveness that they had 2 years ago, because they were one of the best defensive teams in football, if they do, it's going to be difficult for Kansas City, Atlanta, LA Rams, New England Patriots. I don't care who it is. It's going to be difficult for them to move the football because that was a very, very good defense. So now we're talking about degrees of excellence here, but to what extent they return to that defense is going to be extremely interesting. And also, Kansas City is just the opposite. I mean, their defense was atrocious. So if if they can play good defense and Foles can just keep them moving the ball, help their defense some, keep them off the field, and Jacksonville's going to be tough to beat.
2 games in the noon window. Let's take a look at 2 in the 3 o'clock window of games. First one on CBS, Indianapolis traveling out west, taking on the LA Chargers. 2 teams that probably a couple of months ago were thinking are on that short list of teams that could contend for a Super Bowl. Lots changed since then. Indianapolis is now without Andrew Luck. The LA Chargers are going to have to do with Derwin James for the vast majority of their season. But still plenty of talent on both sides here, but I would certainly give the edge to a Chargers team with Phillip Rivers under center. With all due respect to Jacoby Brissett, but still really interesting team in our first look at what the Colts will look like with Jacoby Brissett under center.
Yeah, that's true, and I don't think the Colts are the Chargers are too worried about not getting the running back back. They've got running back by committee, and they've got Phillip Rivers. They've got good receivers, and they have a lot of confidence in that phase of their football, which they were going to do anyway. So, and then defensively, as you saw last year, Joe, which I thought was one of the really impressive things about the NFL season last year, was the degree to which the Chargers got better defensively as the year went on. They got better and better and better. Now, a lot of that I would think might have something to do with their head coach being a defensive coach, Lynn. And they've got good talent over there. So I would agree with you. It's going to be interesting. Not as interesting as the other 2, and there are actually a couple of more on here that would really are really going to show quite a bit as to how the year is going to go. For example, Pittsburgh at New England.
Yeah.
Huge game. I think that's probably going to be a Sunday night.
Yeah, that's a Sunday night game.
Sunday night game, yeah. I don't care about seeing Tampa Bay play, but San Francisco at Tampa Bay, just to see San Francisco play, and New York at Dallas, regardless of where they look right now preseason. That's always a knockdown, drag-out. It's a rivalry game in the NFL, and it is going to mean a heck of a lot. If New York should go into Dallas and upset them at home.
Happened before.
Yeah, it has happened before. And if they do go in and do that, especially with Manning at quarterback, there are going to be some upset people.
Yeah, and the mantra for me for the Dallas Cowboys is fast start. Versus the Giants, yes, but for the month of September, because they open the season against the Giants, they have the Redskins, and then the Dolphins. 3, we would argue, very winnable, should be 3-0 heading into the New Orleans Saints game. That'll be a Sunday night game on the 29th. So the Dallas Cowboys, the urgency of getting guys signed. We got Ezekiel Elliott back in camp. Give him a couple of weeks to kind of ramp up. But Coach, a softer 3-game schedule for the Dallas Cowboys to kick things off here. But again, may not have the full complement of the Ezekiel Elliott experience, but you would think they still have enough to get the job done against the Giants. But we have seen before and especially in week 1, where the Giants travel to Dallas and are able to beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys, for all of the glitz and glamour that Jerry World is, has never really been a tremendous home field advantage for the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm not going to write off the Giants in this one. The Cowboys should win, but I think it's going to be close, and certainly one of the better games in the 3 o'clock window, that one on Fox there as well. I would just add one thing to the 49ers and the Tampa Bay, call it the Bruce Arians Bowl, but this, I think, is a crucial year for Jameis Winston. Bruce Arians has had very successful offenses before, both as a coordinator, both as a head coach. Now he has the task of kind of retooling or helping to make Jameis Winston the quarterback that we all thought he would be coming out of Florida State. So we'll see what their offense looks like. Again, they're taking on the 49ers in the 3 o'clock window. We'll take a quick timeout, come back for more, looking ahead at the college football games that we are most looking forward to seeing coming up on Saturday. And this is the Florida State War Chant, which means for a chance to be entered to win a pair of tickets for Florida State's game this coming Saturday, give us a call, 623-1330. 623-1330. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes for inspiration, you just have to look up. For more than 60 years, the Goodyear blimp has fueled greatness on the gridiron by providing aerial coverage of some of the most legendary moments in college football history. When the Goodyear blimp rises above a stadium, it inspires players to reach higher and rise to the challenge of the game's biggest moments. Now it's your turn to go further with Goodyear. Discover tires made to rise above the rest. Learn more at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1. Coach K and Joe Ford in studio with you here. Again, if you heard the Florida State war chant there, you give us a call, 623-1330, to be entered to win a pair of tickets to this weekend's Florida State game. We'll be doing that again tomorrow as well. Winner will be selected on Friday, and then we'll let you know. So thanks for those who have called to get their names entered, and be listening for your chance both this afternoon on the Sports Drive with Chad and myself, and tomorrow in Coach K, Talk Football with Coach K as well, for a couple of more chances to get your names entered to win. So, got NFL Thursday night. We have UWF on Thursday night. We have high school football on Friday night, and then college football and the NFL Division I college football anyway taking over on Saturday. Couple of games on Friday maybe worth paying attention to. Boise State after their win against Florida State hosting Marshall. But a lot of action on Saturday. The two big games, Coach. LSU taking on Texas, and then Texas A&M against Clemson. We've talked before, but since Trevor Lawrence has been the starting quarterback, that Clemson has not won a game by less than 20 points. They're at home, and Texas A&M providing some bulletin board material to Clemson. So, Coach, just ask for your kind of 2 cents on this game. Any chance, and I guess I shouldn't say any chance, because there's, of course, a chance that Texas A&M could go in there and pull the upset. But how realistic is that in your mind?
I think it's very realistic. I really do. I think Clemson is rightfully favored and should win the ball game. And if I had to pick, they probably, which we will do tomorrow, I probably would pick Clemson. But I'm telling you, Texas A&M has a good chance to go win this football game. Now, keep in mind, Jimbo Fisher knows Clemson very well. He's played them every year for a number of years, been in there to Clemson. So that's another advantage they have.
Again, that one starts 2:30 on ABC is the start time there. Looking at the 11 o'clock window, Coach, on Saturday, again, I think this one is really interesting. In the state of Ohio, Cincinnati takes on Ohio State. Ohio State looked very good against Florida Atlantic, now an in-state opponent. In-state opponents can and always are dangerous for teams like an Ohio State, Florida, where you have a group of kids that were probably, in most cases, overlooked by the big state schools, especially the football factories like that. Cincinnati just beat UCLA a week ago. Luke Fickell, the former assistant coach at Ohio State. Ohio State's favored, and rightfully so, Coach, but Cincinnati, who is now ranked after their win over UCLA, now comes in with a giant chip on their shoulder, and the most dangerous thing, I think, is just the belief that they can come into the Horseshoe and beat Ohio State. I'm not expecting it to happen, but I think this one will be a lot closer than I think Ohio State wants it to be.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Cincinnati won this ball game. Now, last week we both picked Cincinnati over UCLA, but this is a little different football game. It's at Ohio State. It's Ohio State, not UCLA. So there's quite a bit of difference. But you said it right. You hit it right on the head. All the hot points are there. All the momentum builders, the different elements of a ball game that create that excitement for the players that are especially underdogs on the road. So don't be surprised. It's going to be a heck of a ball game. I think it'll be a good one to watch.
Along with the Texas A&M Clemson game at the 2:30 window, a game that traditionalists and historians of the sport will really appreciate. Week 2 matchup, a Big Ten, Pac-12 matchup. Used to be out of the old Big 12, but that's no more. Nebraska traveling to Boulder, Colorado to take on the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado not a ranked team. Nebraska, a bit of a shaky start, but still a lot of people high on them, including Tim Brando, by the way. I follow him on Twitter. I think he had Nebraska ranked number 9th in his top 10 poll following the Week 1 games. Didn't get off to a great start. Nebraska's defense was really outstanding against South Alabama there, but Nebraska traveling to Colorado. Don't see an upset happening there for the Buffaloes, but it's at least good to see that game that was traditionally for so many years played the day after Thanksgiving, but Nebraska-Colorado locking horns on Saturday. So get yourself a second TV set there, along with the Texas A&M Clemson game to enjoy that one.
Yeah, and but I think you're right. I think Tim's right about Nebraska. There's an intangible there with Nebraska, and a lot of it has to do with their coach, Frost. But I like Nebraska. I like Nebraska to get better and better as the year goes on. So, in fact, I think they're going to beat Colorado and beat them pretty badly. They'll make a big comeback this week.
Another game that I want to highlight just for a moment here, Tennessee taking on BYU. There was a lot of talk in the offseason about how Tennessee had the recipe for taking a big year two jump under Jeremy Pruitt. Didn't pan out that way last week. But now BYU, a team that I think is pretty good, they lost to Utah there, but now travel to Knoxville to take on a Tennessee team that, coach, if they're not careful, they could be 0-2 to start the year. I think BYU can knock them off, and I may even go so far later in the week to predict that and take BYU straight up in this one.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, BYU could very easily win this ball game. I think what happened to Tennessee is they read too many of the press clippings before the year started and did not prepare as they should have to play a team like Georgia State. It was an ideal scenario for Georgia State. I don't think Tennessee's going to make that mistake again. I think they'll come back and play tough. But I'll tell you, you are right. They better be extremely careful with this BYU. BYU didn't play very well last week either, and their coach is in trouble. He's on the hot seat along with Tennessee's and a number of others. So it's going to be the who can step out of the pit, really, because they're both in a pit and they know it.
Now, the headliner of the weekend, the only matchup featuring two top 10 teams, is number 6 LSU at number 9 Texas. 6:30 start time on ABC there. And, Coach, lots to look forward to. We had Tim Brando on yesterday thinking LSU's going to win. We talked a lot about Joe Burrow and how great he looked in LSU's first matchup. But for LSU to be considered a serious contender, not just a team that's really good but just always in Alabama's shadow, these are the type of the games that you win and then you win handily. And this is a chance for LSU to really make a statement here on the road against Texas.
No doubt about it. This is a monster game, especially, well, for both teams, really. Both teams have a tremendous amount to lose, and we're talking about a tremendous amount to lose, Joe. We're talking about participation in the final drawdown, the final playoff. This could lead to or diminish any attempt to get there, but it could lead to certainly a football team that could carry on after a big win like this and win out and be in the playoffs. So it's got that much importance attached to it. I think as Joe Burrow goes, LSU goes, and we're going to see this week against a better, much better defense, obviously, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a heck of a ball game, but I think LSU should prevail even on the road.
Couple notable games out west. If you're still up and want to enjoy more college football on Saturday night, a couple of Pac-12 games here. Cal taking on Washington on the road. Washington with former Georgia quarterback Jacob Eason looked very good. Jacob Eason outstanding, throwing the ball through a couple of passes that you really say wow to. And the other one, Stanford traveling to Los Angeles to take on USC. USC with a new quarterback, the unfortunate injury to TJ Daniels. So freshman now starting for USC after getting the win against Fresno State. But as we're looking for the Pac-12 to try to rebound and really see if we have a legitimate national title contender out west, I don't know that I'm ready to necessarily write off Oregon as a title contender. I think they do have to win out. A lot has to fall their way. But after losing to Auburn, I think that takes kind of the wind out of their sails for the most part. But I believe Washington is still a legitimate title contender there, especially with Chris Peterson, the talent, the depth that he has. Now combine that with a quarterback as talented as Jacob Eason. I also think Utah's still in that mix as well. But Washington, second chance to see them and how USC looks with a freshman quarterback and a quarterback on the hot seat.
Yeah, well, you couldn't have said it better about Eason. I thought that, of course, I may be a little prejudiced. I pay much more attention to the quarterback position than maybe most do because I played it and coached it. But Eason looked fabulous. He put the ball where very few can put it, on time, to boot, and on the dime. And it was just a great showing. You could understand why he was considered the best quarterback in the country when he came out of high school. Great quarterback. They got a good quarterback, and they got a heck of a coach. So watch Washington now.
Those are the big games of the Week 2 schedule in college football. A lot more ranked teams in action, though. We'll get to those as the week goes on. Final timeout. We'll hit more news and notes from around the world of college and professional football. And again, for Florida State fans, we do have Tomahawk Talk. Myself and Terry Gross in studio from 1 to 2, reacting to what we saw in Week 1. Water and hydration and all sorts of stuff coming out of Tallahassee this week. So I'm sure Terry has a lot to say on his Florida State Seminoles. So quick timeout. Got about 8 minutes left in the show. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
All right, it's time for some straight talk. You wouldn't pay $100 for seats to a baseball game where you can get the same seats for $50. So why pay more on your wireless when you can get the same 4G LTE networks for up to half the cost? For $45 a month, get our unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data from Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Welcome back to Sports View. Today's topic, who deserves to win big this season? My 2 cents, good drivers. I mean, that's why there's Snapshot from Progressive. Let's go to Rick for some confusing metaphors.
Look, if you put a classically trained cellist in a garage band and you tell him to play filet mignon, I guarantee you, the meat on that burrito ain't gonna light the candle.
Thanks for clarifying, Rick.
If you're a good driver, there's no other way to say it. You deserve discounts with Snapshot. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most.
And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at HolidayInn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. Welcome to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. Pensacola's home to the best talk in sports, new and improved. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 and FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Coach K and Joe Ford in studio here. Talk football with Coach K every weekday from noon to 1. And don't forget, we have Tomahawk Talk coming up from 1 to 2. Myself and Terry Gross reacting and looking ahead, taking a look at everything going on in the Florida State football program. Our pulse on Willie Taggart's job security after some interesting comments about hydration and water and just a lack of preparedness for Florida State's matchup against Boise State. Coach, been a busy show today. A lot of news and notes from around the NFL. Zeke's back in camp. Jared Goff gets signed to a big extension. So with any time that we have left, I certainly want to highlight some of our sponsors that make this possible on a day in, day out basis. And now's the time to get on board because there is a lot going on locally, in college, and the NFL.
Oh, you bet. It's going to be a great season. And thanks to our sponsors, we got the best sponsors in the world, Joe. 11 Papantonio Law Firm, which is one of the most prestigious law firms in the world, right here in Pensacola. And if you have need of a law firm, and you can be assured that a whole team goes to work for you down there, not just some lawyer may or may not be out of law school, just out of law school. So it's quite an advantage for all of us. Plus, what they do for the community is just unparalleled. The shooting range, the only indoor shooting range in our area, if you go out there and tell them you heard it on the show, they'll let you shoot for half price, which is a heck of a thing. You might enjoy tremendously. Plus a wide selection of guns and ammunition and so on. And anyway, our also we're going to have a new sponsor come in on, Joe, out at Calvert's restaurant, and talk about something a little different that's great, with English-style fish and chips, shepherd pie. I got to understand the best burgers in town. Great cocktail hour prices on hors d'oeuvres and drinks and so on. And then the TV's in there. You know, where are you going to watch all that many college games? They got 8, 9 TVs in there. And the other thing they've got, which is a tremendous advantage for many, is they have the NFL ticket available, which means that if you're from another area of the country and you want to see your Chicago Bears play, regardless of who's playing, or your Philadelphia Eagles or whomever, you can get that on the NFL ticket on one of the TVs in there, and you don't have to settle for the games on the national network.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be back at it tomorrow, Thursday edition, and it will be time for NFL Week 1. Bears, Packers, and more from around the NFL and college football. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomahawk Talk is next.
It's almost fall, and that means football. And ESPN Pensacola 1330 is all about football. We've got UWF Argos football every Saturday, high school football every Friday night. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
For ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM, I'm Joe Ford with your Sports Center update. Ezekiel Elliott is expected on the practice field today as the Dallas Cowboys continue preparing for their Week 1 opener against the New York Giants.
Zeke has been arguably our best player. I'm not trying to be unfair to anybody else, but he's an incremental part to our success. We're glad to get him booked in. We're glad to have him.
Team owner Jerry Jones with CNBC this morning after agreeing to a 6-year, $90 million extension that gives Elliott $50 million guaranteed. In other contract news, the LA Rams are giving quarterback Jared Goff the most money guaranteed in NFL history, $110 million. The 4-year extension can go as high as $134 million and will keep him in Los Angeles through 2024. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Falcons are maneuvering salary cap space in their effort to tie up Julio Jones long-term. The team converted the base salaries of safety Ricardo Allen and left tackle Jake Matthews into signing bonuses, freeing up about $5 million in cap room. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos are back on the diamond tonight. It's game 1 of their best-of-5 series against the Biloxi Shuckers. First pitch is at 6:35 and can be heard right here on ESPN Pensacola. Meanwhile, the UWF Argos are just 1 day away from their season opener against Carson Newman. That game will also be heard on ESPN Pensacola starting at 6 tomorrow. At the FIBA World Cup, Boston Celtics forward Jason Tatum is expected to miss at least the next 2 games with a sprained ankle. He was hurt during Team USA's 93-92 win over Turkey on Tuesday. And on tonight's Major League Baseball schedule, the Twins continue their series in Boston. Both the Rays and Braves have the day off. With your Sports Center update, I'm Joe Ford for ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
I thought I was too old.
I thought I was too young.
I didn't think I had what it takes.
How would I find the time? I figured I'd get around to it someday.
Besides, it's probably too expensive.
Too difficult.
Too complicated.
Then one day I sat down at the piano.
Drums.
The keyboard.
Guitar.
Bass.
Ukulele.
I went into a music store and tried some percussion.
Tried a clarinet.
A sax.
And I learned a few simple notes.
Simple chords.
Simple rhythms.
Before I knew it,
I could actually play a song. A pretty simple one, but I did it. Me. I couldn't believe it.
why make excuses when you can make music?
Why wait?
Just play. This message brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
Friday nights in the fall are a magical time. It's Friday Night Lights, where new stars are born, where agony meets victory. ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 and sister station News Radio 92.3 AM 1620 brings you all play-by-play coverage during the week's best matchup. We are football. We are Friday Night Lights. This Friday night at 7, it's the Escambia Gators versus the Pine Forest Eagles right here on ESPN Pensacola 99.1 AM 1330.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. It is Tomahawk Talk, a weekly program every Wednesday, 1 to 2. Joe Ford and Terry Gross in studio as we are breaking down what we saw and look ahead to hopefully a better week to come. And Terry, always glad to be with you here. And had a couple of days or 2 or 3 days to kind of to mellow out a little bit. You got your notes prepared and just ready to go. Nothing there. Yeah. It's all up here.
Yeah, it is. I got no notes whatsoever. I was at the game. Of course, most of you know, once again, I'm a local personal injury lawyer. Went to FSU Law School. Started in 1976, Bobby Bowden's first year, which was a losing season. by the way, 5-6. I think the next year was only 7-4, and then the rest is history. But yeah, I was there. There's so many takeaways. I don't even know where to begin, but I'll begin with the good. Yeah. I'll begin with the offense was electric. They came out. God, it was just euphoric. Big play after big play. Put up 31 points in the first half. Got a lot of quick drives. So I wasn't really concerned about the time of possession because even the first half, they had the ball a lot longer than us. But if we score quick, so what? It's hard to say anything negative about our offense in the first half. I mean, 31 points, you couldn't ask for more. And then I saw the defense. So on the defensive side, first half, I was worried to some degree because we were giving up a lot of yardage. They were running on us from the get-go, gaping holes in our line. So their running back was getting a full head of steam before anybody touched him. He had 3, 4, 5 yards before he was even touched with our 3-man line. You know, we went to a 3-4 defense, and it didn't work too well. And a true freshman quarterback that was started off with just these little swing passes. But at the end of the first half, we were lucky that every drive they had, they seemed to only get away with a field goal. So, you know, it was still a comfortable lead. At one time, we had an 18-point lead, 31-13, in the second quarter, and they closed with 2 more field goals. So 31-19, but still, you know, seemed good. Just figured we just got to keep them out scoring them, you know, and so forth, and we win. But at the end of the first half, we had about 358 or 368 in total yards. They were around 333. So I was already concerned that, wait a second, they have already put over 300 yards on us in the first half. We came out and, you know, I think they made a lot of adjustments, and we got greedy. What I saw, there was one series, Joe, you may remember this, where Blackman went deep on the first play. I mean, real deep, and didn't happen. Went deep the second play. Now we got third down, the obvious passing play. They blitz, they sack us, boom, 3 and out. We had a lot of 3 and outs, punted a lot, and what we got away from, I thought, was the little chink passes. They're just so easy for Blackman to complete. We got so many receivers. Maybe Cam Akers coming out. We could have done the little dink passes, little screens. Call it what you want, but 5, 6, instead of going for the big plays, very easy to complete, and also very hard to sack the quarterback because you're getting rid of the ball so quick. But we got those other plays, and they ended up sacking us. So they turned up the heat. We didn't respond, and so we went a whole half with no points, only 68 yards the whole second half. It just is 2 different games. Meanwhile, they did the same thing. They ended up putting over 660 yards on us. Their freshman quarterback threw for 407. The running back ran for over 140. Just terrific. So I'm more worried about the defensive side coming out of this, because offense, at least we showed we could do something. So could you tweak it and maybe not get so greedy and maybe go for some shorter plays? I'm real worried about the defense.
Let's start with the defense because as I was watching the game, and I made mental notes because I knew we would be talking about it, so I wanted to make sure that I had in my mind, okay, what are the things that I'm seeing positively? What are the things that I'm seeing negatively? You've already said the run defense. Now, Boise State had a good offensive line. They had all 5 starters back, a lot of experience there, but the fact that the running back has 3 or 4 yards before he's even touched is a big problem. That's a huge problem. The other thing I wrote down, the pass defense, it felt like there was a lot of miscommunication back there where, especially on, I remember one particular example, it was a 3rd and I want to say about 8 or 9. It may have even been longer than that. It was in the first half. But it was a long pass on the left-hand side as I'm watching on TV, but nobody within 5 yards of the receiver, and this is a 3rd and long type play. There was just too many instances where wide receivers were wide open. Could have been man, could have been zone. It looked discombobulated to me that the cornerbacks were not anywhere close to the intended receiver for a good part of the game. That was a big problem for me. I thought, talking about the defense, one positive that I saw was the pass rush. I thought was pretty good.
It was pretty good, but we did have 6 sacks, so that's good. 6 sacks sounds good, but another play I remember in the third or fourth quarter was we held them really well, and it was 3rd and 17. And the same thing you just described. 3rd and 17, freshman quarterback, that should not be a first down. It should not by any means be a first down. It was an easy first down for them, and we didn't blitz. So when we did blitz, it seems like it worked. But if you're going with this 3-4, you got to compensate somehow, and it was an obvious pass down. It's 3rd and 17.
Yeah.
Other than maybe some shouldn't get 17 yards on a draw play. You should be expecting a pass play, and there was no blitz. And that young quarterback giving him time, and he made a 19-yard throw to the sidelines. Boom, boom, right on the money, and first down. So, and even Willie talked about that in the post-game thing. I listened to Gene Deckerhoff on the way out of town for an hour and a half. I love Gene, and he actually got Willie on finally. And Willie said, that we kept our defense out there and we let them extend too many. We gave them too many third downs. I think they ended up with 9 out of 20 third downs. We were 1 out of 12 the second half on third down plays. Horrible statistics. And of course, at the end of the game, they had the ball 40 minutes. We had it for 20. But again, I don't really mind the time. If we're scoring fast, I'm not really going to worry too much about that. I just read as I was coming in on Facebook, just little things. Did you notice? I mean, could you imagine if Bobby Bowden was the coach? Do you think Bobby Bowden, as the coach, would let us fair catch on the 5 and 10 yard line? They were kicking. I don't know if they were kicking intentionally short, daring us to run it back, or their guy didn't have that much leg. But for whatever reasons, we kept on kicking it out of the end zone. And we kept on catching the 5, and we're getting it they weren't even close. And we were just automatically, you could tell the coaches had already called it, and we took away a running game where we got really faster people. I mean, who's got faster people? And not to even try that. I don't know how long you've been a fan. Are you old enough to remember Tamarick Vanover? Tamarick was exciting. Tamarick back in the day, it was, you'd almost expected him each game to run back a touchdown. I mean, it was just expected. And I remember those days, back even when Dion used to receive, and just expecting that, hey, something big's going to happen. And just to go in our cocoon and say, okay, we'll just take on the 25. We're not even going to try to run this thing out. We never tried. I don't know how many fair catches we had. And it was never that deep. And when he caught it, nobody was near him. So there was a lot of things. But I think now I'm seeing the internet. So I'm seeing the real bashers out there. And I'm not a basher. I am not. I'm still a Seminole. I'm not a Willie basher. Certainly need to give him time. I was just telling one of your cohorts outside, let's take a look at Jimbo's last season. Jimbo's last season, he quit. He quit the team. We were 5-6 when he left. Odell Haggins, our defensive lines coach, became the head coach. And we had to reschedule a rained-out game with, I think it may have been Monroe. It was one of those teams. I can't remember. But and we beat them. So now we're 6-6. Now we're eligible. We played a bowl game. We win that. And we ended up 7-6. So we already had a problem before Willie got here. I mean, yes, last year we could say woulda, coulda. And already this is a game we should have won. But they're a good team. They're now top 25. Boise State was 24 today. They're not chopped liver. But just I'll give you statistics that really bothers me the most. Here it is, and you may know this. In the past 15 years, we have had an 18-point lead or better 82 times.
Yeah.
And we've only lost 2 games. One was to Miami last year where we had them totally beat in the fourth quarter and lost it with Willie Taggart, and now this game. So there's no reason at home. And they did take the fans out. So because of the storm, we weren't capacity. We had 50,000 Seminoles and 1,000 Boise State. We had our band. They didn't bring a band, nothing. They didn't have cheerleaders. So we were loudish and into the game, and then we were taken out. And of course, some of the players are doing this and this, but it's kind of hard. It's disheartening to the fan to keep in it. It's tough when you watch us lay an egg. And I think one of the worst plays, you can remember this, but we still can win this game. They're driving again, and they fumble on about the 5-yard line. And in the captions all over TV, there's only 2 Seminoles. There's only 2 people within 10 feet of this ball. One guy is dropping to cover it up. The other guy standing up trying to make the big play, rips it from his own teammate, fumbles it, and then they get it and they go in. Yeah. Game over. But had we recovered that fumble, we'd probably win the game. That's sad.
One of the we talked yesterday on the Sports Drive, and as I'm kind of engrossing myself into Florida State, watched the game and made sure that because I wanted to take away as much positives as I could, because there were plenty of positives there. And I think what's so frustrating for me, and I would imagine for you, Terry, and other Florida State fans, by the way, if you want to weigh in, the phone number, new signal 1330 AM, so the new phone number 623-1330. Give us a call if you want to weigh in on what you saw and your main takeaways from Week 1 against Boise State. But it looked so easy in the first half. I texted you. I said, athletes in space, it's night and day from a year ago. And, it's because it looked so easy that makes this loss so frustrating to me. It's one thing if Boise State and Florida State are, 2 very evenly matched teams, and by and large, I think that is the case regardless of the outcome, at least right now. Florida State has the athletic advantage, but Boise State probably this year has the advantage in terms of just depth and experience. But for Florida State to open up how they did on offense, their defense got a turnover. It really just speaks to what I thought was, man, this team, if they can play like this, if they can play like this consistently, we're talking about, maybe 8-4 or better, 9-3, maybe even 10-2, because you could see on the field the athleticism, the scheming guys open, which is what they didn't have last year. It's what Kendall Briles, what we all thought would happen. That's exactly what happened in the first half. And then there was on-field issues where they went away from the running game. Cam Akers, I don't remember the touch count, but whatever he got in the first half, it wasn't anywhere close to the number of touches that he should have had in the second half, because he was moving the ball very well. I thought James Blackman, for the most part, played very well. I thought that he made good decisions. He threw the guys that were open. Briles was able to scheme guys open. He took a couple of deep shots down the field. But I thought James Blackman looked pretty well. What's so frustrating is just to be such a night and day difference from the first half to the second half. And then, a couple days later talk about, how to hear the starting center say, we weren't prepared. To hear Willie Taggart on his coach's show on Monday night talking about, we probably weren't as hydrated as we need to be. It's a learning experience. Well, what was last year? Well, it's not like this is the first time we're playing in the state of Florida in August. He's coached at South Florida before.
In the heat of the day.
I just and I don't know if that's legitimate or if that's just trying. But I don't think Willie Taggart came out of this looking good, both in terms of the on-field product, but certainly just a couple of days later to have a starting center say, we weren't prepared, I wasn't prepared. That, to me, is a huge red flag. And as a Florida State fan, you want to support the head coach, right? Because you can't, I don't think it's really hard to support the team if you're not supporting the guy who's leading it. So I understand that. But, man, it's just, after all that happened last year with the inconsistency and just the nature of other teams literally pointing at a sideline to say, hey, you need an extra guy out here, to come out this year to look so good in the first quarter.
And then lay an egg the second. Let me go over a little bit that's not coaching. Let me play a little devil's advocate to you, because I watched the whole thing. I have not seen replays, but I was watching like a hawk every down, of course. We did have a play in the second half to Gavin on another long bomb right in his hands. I mean, Blackman threw another 40-50, perfectly thrown right in his hands, right through it. So that's an incompletion. Then we had the trick play, which I loved. I don't know if you knew about Cam Akers, but Cam Akers,
the throw,
yeah, he threw for over 5,000 yards in high school. I mean, he was a quarterback, and the throw wasn't pretty. It was a little wobbly, but it hit the our great receiver Terry right on the hip.
He's a player,
very
by the
catchable
way.
ball, and he looked away. I mean, he was already looking for a touchdown, so he did what a lot of people do is they looked away from the ball, didn't look it into his hands. So that would have been a genius play had it worked. So there were things that happened. We had another long play where it got down first in goal, and then we ended up squandering it. The hike. I mean, the center hikes the ball, and Blackman's not looking. We're lucky to cover it, and we had to actually do like a 47-yard field goal where we were inside the 5-yard line, lucky to get 3. I think that was right before the half. So there were some things that really even the coaches, so even the kid not jumping on the ball, that's not on the coaches. That's the individual. I'm sure they tell them all the time.
Sure.
They don't tell them, get greedy, pick it up and run. They're telling them to jump on the ball. So not everything's the coaching, but if we stay with defense, it is coaching. And so we got great athletes. We've been recruiting, actually. When you look at our classes, the incoming classes, we've been doing great with these 4-star cornerbacks. We're loaded with highly talented cornerbacks that many Division I schools wanted, and they're, like you said, people are wide open for whatever reasons. It wasn't just that one play you saw. There's many plays, and they close quick. They're fast, so but it's been our Achilles heel last year. And so I think Briles is the real deal. I am on the Briles wagon. Yeah. I don't care what happens second half. I think they need to be looking at some things. But at the end of the day, our defense looks so porous, and this was not the best offense we're going to face. So if we got torched for 660 with Boise State, what do you think Clemson's going to do? Florida Gators, So it just doesn't bode well. And the 3-4, I think what I saw, because I was in the end zone at the Champions Club, and I saw that daylight. So you could see when they're coming at you. I saw this running back. I saw the hole.
Yeah.
I saw the daylight, and I saw this 3 or 4 yards, nobody touching him. Meanwhile, Cam Akers would get the ball, and he was already trying to break a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. So he's already fighting for his life before he gets to the line of scrimmage. Their guy was going through the line of scrimmage head full of steam, and so if you try to tackle him, he'd go another 2 or 3 yards anyway. And it seems like they were getting a lot of 7 and 8 yard carries. In fact, the stats by then, their running back averaged 5.9 per carry.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Can't happen.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick timeout, react to more from what we saw, Florida State and Boise State, and then turn our attention to week 2 because, hey, there is a football game on Saturday. Florida State and UL Monroe coming up on Saturday. By the way, be listening to Talk Football with Coach K and the Sports Drive today and tomorrow for a chance at winning a pair of Florida State tickets to Saturday's game. So we'll talk more. The phone number, if you want to weigh in, 623-1330. Back in a moment. It's Tomahawk Talk, ESPN Pensacola, 1330, 99.1 FM.
Hi, this is Terrence A. Gross. Did you know that there are over 93,000 attorneys in the state of Florida? Both myself and my partner Charles Schuster are 2 of only 1,000 attorneys who are board-certified civil trial lawyers in this state. Our law firm handles only people that have been injured due to the negligence of another. If you need a personal injury and wrongful death attorney, call Gross & Schuster at 434-3333, 434-3333. You can also visit us at our website at grossandschuster.com.
If you have frequent heartburn, take control of it with Prilosec OTC instead of stashing antacids everywhere, like in your junk drawer, buried under old batteries and hotel pens, or in your purse, hiding in the one pocket you won't check. You even have antacids on your nightstand, which are very hard to see in the dark. It's time you stopped stashing antacids and started taking Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn.
It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days, not for immediate relief.
Tuesdays are the worst. They're all that stands between you and the downhill part of the week. But now they're a lot less worse, because Wing Tuesdays at B-Dubs are buy one, get one free traditional wings. So Monday, you may kick off the week. Wednesday, you may have a cool nickname. Thursday, you might be the almost weekend. But watch your back, because Tuesdays just officially became Wing Tuesdays. Buffalo Wild Wings. Roar! Buy one traditional wings order and get one of equal value free. Participation and promotional details vary by location. Check in with your favorite Buffalo Wild Wings to learn more about this offer.
Sports commentary, legendary interviews, in-studio guests, expert opinions. It's the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante.
A guy like Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, they know they could go to another team and put up freakish numbers, but sharing the wealth across the board makes them a better team.
Catch up on the day's biggest sports stories on your drive home. The Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Weekday afternoons from 5 till 7 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And I guess what changed in your mind in the second half?
Momentum. Momentum's the greatest player and coach on the field. When you got it, you got to run with it. When you don't have it, you got to try to find a way to get it back. We just didn't find a way to get it back. We got off the field on third down, and our defensively we stayed on the field on third down, so it was the biggest key in the second half.
Kendall Briles, the offensive coordinator there, and Tomahawk Talk on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Joe Ford and Terry Gross with you here. And Terry, yeah, I'm with you as you listening to the last segment there. Kendall Briles, in the first half, we saw what the offense can look like and should look like when you're playing a team where you have the athletic advantage, a lot of guys in space. He talked about kind of staying ahead of the chains, the first and second downs, where which you alluded to last segment, Terry, just talking about there was a lot of deep shots that didn't pan out, and rather than just trying to get back on schedule, staying ahead of the chains, James Blackman with probably some questionable decisions as far as taking deep shots again and leading the offense to get off the field in 3 and outs. And so when we hear Willie Taggart talk about hydration and we can make fun of that or whatever. A lot of people are saying it's a lame excuse, but the fact of the matter is that in terms of time of possession, Boise State was on the field a heck of a lot more on offense than Florida State was, and whether or not Florida State was hydrated enough, I think that they probably, with the nutritionists and all the people that they have on their staff. I don't know that was the main issue, but I could see a situation where the defense was just wearing down from the number of plays that they had to be on the field in the second half.
That and it was pretty noticeable that the kids that were cramping, you could see they're cramping, were more Seminoles than them. It surprised me. But anyway, I don't want to get distracted by that because I still think the defensive scheme was porous from the get-go. The first half, they didn't finish off. We stymied them and they kept the field goals, but they still they were balanced. They had over 300 yards of offense both halves, so the yardage was about the same per half. But I also want to talk about the so Briles. There's very little. You can't say anything negative first half. I mean, it was so lightning quick, and maybe they just wanted to keep that going. But they also made adjustments. You could tell we had a lot of luck with those side-to-side passes, trying to get our athletic receivers like Terry one-on-one. He broke a tackle, ran for a touchdown, and just a little nothing pass. So I think we tried to do that, but they obviously were over that. They caught on to that. It wasn't him. They was well defended. They were all over our receivers second half. So I still think these crossing things over the middle, I think we could have done the same thing to them that they did to us, exactly where they were passing, because their quarterback wasn't throwing bombs. And he was just doing the little passes into the green area, 2 open receivers, getting first downs. Maybe they could break a tackle, extend it, whatever. We should have done the same thing. I think that would have been open all day long with the athletes, with Helton, Terry. We just got so many receivers. Cam Akers more out of the outfield, out of the backfield. Ward Dunn used to have quite a few receptions a game. He wasn't just a typical running back. It was very common for Charlie Ward to hit Ward Dunn coming out of the backfield. That was one of their go-to plays.
And Willie Taggart, by the way, he was speaking with the media earlier today. Or I'm sorry, it was yesterday, but trying to clarify whatever he said as far as the hydration. Again, I think we're kind of beating a dead horse at this point. A lot of people are taking it and run with it. I didn't like the comments initially, combined with hearing the starting center say that we weren't prepared. But when you're on the field, when the defense is on the field that long, you're going to run into issues whether you're from Florida or you're from Boise. You're just going to run into issues just given how long you're on the field there. Another positive, Terry, wanted to get your thoughts on James Blackman. He was guy we'd seen him start a game. He put up big numbers. For the most part, I thought he looked comfortable. For the most part, I thought that the offensive line played okay. I didn't think that I saw improvement there. Now in the second half, I think they started to give up some big sacks there. But looking at the offensive side of the ball, specifically Blackman, his play along with the offensive line, did you see a lot of encouraging signs from those two positions?
Well, he had a couple of bad passes. One he threw in the end zone in the double coverage. Should have never thrown the ball, but he had no interceptions, so that's good. He threw for 333 yards, most of which was the first half, but still, that sounds like a good game. And 3 TDs. So the numbers seem good. Now, most of the sacks were on him, and the fumble, he fumbled, one of those sacks, so that gave up the ball. But I still think just getting rid of the ball quicker. If you already know, we know going into the season that we're not going to take the 289th offensive line in the country and make them number one. So we know that we don't have the greatest. So that means we have to get rid of the ball quicker. And I think, again, these shorter passes, we just don't have to. It looks beautiful. When he hit Keyshawn Helton on the run for that touchdown, it was amazing. It's exhilarating. I'm glad we did it. But I just don't. I think he was drinking the Kool-Aid and maybe got intoxicated. So did he make that call or did the coaches make the call? I don't know. But there were. I could think of about 4 or 5 long passes that were very ill-advised. And the most clear ones were the 2 back-to-back. So we do 2 back-to-back. Then we go back the third time and he's sacked. And I hated that series. And like you said, why not start off, see if Cam could break one? Maybe he could break one. So that they were stopping him to some degree. But Cam actually ended up with 116 yards.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how many carries, but it wasn't like a lot. You could probably look it up.
Yeah, look that up.
Yeah, but he had 116 yards in the game, and I doubt he had much over 20 carries. So, he did he had a pretty good day himself. But just even I think the passes to him, they're missing that ability. I think that's something that was a key. That was vintage Charlie Ward, and those two together were just awesome. And that's how we pretty much won the national title in 1993. What was that combination of Charlie Ward and Ward Dunn?
Akers 15 carries.
Well, that's even better. Yeah.
Yeah, and. Really, it was the Akers show running the game, running the ball, because Laybourne had 3, and then there was a couple with 1. So it's the Cam Akers show offensively, but 15 carries, especially in a game where you score 31 points, it's 31-13 at halftime. He's got to get more than that. He has to get more, especially in the second half, because I don't know about you, Terry, but when it was middle of the fourth quarter. I almost felt a sense of inevitability about how this one was going to end up. I felt like the tank had run empty. I think the defense was out there too long. I think the thing that you have to do when you have a lead, you're playing with a lead. You brought up the stat about how Florida State now is 80-2 in games where they led by 18 or more points. Both losses have occurred under Willie Taggart, and just to have a performance like Cam Akers did in the first half, broke the long touchdown run 38 yards, and then to be in a position to try to put a team away and to not use your best offensive weapon outside of Terry on the outside, that really baffled me. And that was one of the things that, I think anybody could take away is, he touched the ball how many times in the second half? Because I don't remember Akers' name being called much, if at all, in the second half. And when you're up 31-13, talking about the Heat, you're just talking about trying to put a team away, and there's a lot to be said about, winning football games. I mean, you have to learn to win. You have to learn not to lose, but you have to learn how to put a team away. It starts on the ground. That's where it starts. So I hope that's a big lesson learned, because, the nice thing about week 1 is that there's always a week 2, and there's a chance to learn and to build on your mistakes. And I hope that they come out and make a statement and say, hey, we're going to be a team that when we have a team up, when we're up big, that we're going to be able to put them away. They should have an opportunity to do that Saturday against ULM. But I want to see Cam Akers touch the ball early, often, and deep into games.
Well, that's true, but a couple things. So now, I'm on Facebook a lot, and of course there's a lot of people about, firing Willie and firing this, and then there's other people responding, you're not a real Seminole fan or whatever. So yeah, it's emotional. Our fan base, for the most part, is a good fan base, I think. Like all fans, were we spoiled? When you have 14 consecutive top 5 finishes, being bowl eligible can't be a good thing. I mean, we haven't lowered our standards. But so I am not on the Fire Willie bandwagon. I could say that he certainly needs to get this whole year, and we could look are we going to have to look at a defensive coordinator? But firing this Harnett in the middle of the season is not going to help us either. Yeah. I mean, you have to have somebody better to take his place. We tried last year changing offensive coordinator between Willie and Bell. That didn't work. So unless you have somebody that's better to step in, fine. So I don't know what we have to do, but I think it's a learning process. It's very painful. We do have athletes. Maybe not at offensive line, but every other position, I think we do. But you're right, you got to learn to win. There's some mentality, and just have that knockout punch, and that's what you're talking about. But what I don't want to hear, let's presume we beat ULM by 23 points, 28 points this weekend. I don't want to hear them get on their shows and say, okay, we fixed it, we're back. No, you played a lesser opponent. Now, come on. I mean, you're playing a lesser opponent, so we're going right up to Virginia. They're playing good ball. We have a target on our backs. Everybody knows our storied history. They're loving beating the Seminoles. So winning at Virginia already before, even if we had won Boise State, I knew that Virginia was going to be tough. Did you watch the Notre Dame Louisville game?
Most of it, yeah.
Well, first half, Louisville looked good. I mean, they only won 2 games last year. They had that new quarterback that looked looked like somewhat like Lamar Jackson. He ran well. He threw pretty well. They were giving Notre Dame fits before they knew to finally punch their clock, and they finally just ground it out for a win. But first half, it was a boxing match, that first half. So I'm now worried about Louisville. Louisville was one of the check marks I'd already sort of said, well, we'll beat them because they only won 2 games last year. They were looking good.
Yeah. One question I did have, Terry, there's a lot of people on social media, as you've alluded to, are calling for fire Taggart and Free Willie and all those things that every fan base has those when things aren't going at the level of an Alabama or Clemson. My question would be your level of confidence in Willie Taggart being the one that gets it right.
Well, it's so hard because I know that Bobby Bowden didn't do great at West Virginia before us. Yeah. In fact, he said there were people going to tar and feather him, and it was really nasty up there. And then his first year with us, 5-6, and the next year 7-4. So those were pretty humble starts. Now, again, he didn't have the talent. He didn't come into a talent. Right. FSU then was not what it is today. So Willie inherited a lot of talent. I mean, and there's no doubt about it. But it's so tough. It's so, and then you got to say who's better out there. Start naming the names that we know. that are out there, and there's not many. And you hear that Urban Meyer's, is his heart still in it anymore? And other names are out there, but there's not many. It's a very short list.
Yeah.
And like you hear Franklin, but Franklin's at Penn State. Why would he leave Penn State? And they're already talking about the fellow Frost that went to Nebraska.
Frost, yeah.
He ain't leaving Nebraska. That's his alma mater.
That's
home. So
yeah.
Be serious, guys. And so who are these people? So I just don't know yet. I know that Dabo Swinney's, look at his record, his first couple seasons at Clemson, not pretty. In fact, I saw on the internet, I wish I'd printed out his first seasons, 2 seasons at Clemson. We owned Clemson. FSU just owned them every year. And then finally he's got this machine going. So, he had Taj Boyd, and then he had Deshaun Watson and now Lawrence. So it's boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And so he's there. But he built that, and he deserves it. So I just don't know.
Jury's still out.
And you don't have to be yeller or screamer. So some people are down on Willie because he's not yelling and screaming. Every coach has their style.
Right.
He's quiet, so maybe he does his coaching in the locker room or whatever. But he's pretty unemotional. So a lot of people feel he's a deer in the headlights. I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. I can't get in his head.
I subscribe to the theory that the team is going to take on the personality of their coach. I think that's true in a lot of ways. Maybe not necessarily a carbon copy, but again, we talked a lot last week, and I mentioned to you about the areas that I wanted to see vast improvement. Is a head coach is of a major college football program like Florida State is so much more than just what happens on the field on Saturdays. I mean, you are a CEO. And my questions about Willie Taggart really focus more on, is he equipped to be the CEO of this program? And, kind of adding fuel to the fire is, number one, hearing comments from a player after practice saying, hey, we weren't prepared. I'm not sure that if this was, in Alabama, like a Nick Saban coach team, or name any coach, a Lincoln Riley or a Dabo Swinney, any coach like that. I asked the question yesterday, is somebody on one of their teams making a comment like that? I guess I have a question mark about is the team bought in to what Willie Taggart is selling them? Comments like that make me wonder. And just the idea that we're in year 2 and making comments that, again, which he clarified during practice or before practice just earlier today, but talking about how, staying hydrated and being hydrated is a learning experience when you've already been on the job for a year. You've already coached in Florida for 3 years in South Florida. Just the attention to detail, the thing that really separates a really great coach from everybody else, the attention to detail, the CEO mentality of, every facet of the program that I'm in charge of, I have my hand on the pulse. I know what's going on. And those are the question marks that I have. Again, it's too soon to write him off. I mean, financially speaking, they're not firing him just because, whatever the buyout is, and just financially speaking. So, again, I'm not on Fire Willie bandwagon, whatever, but I just see enough red flags that make me wonder if he is the guy who ultimately will lead them back. But again, you had great examples there of coaches who didn't start hot. They went through the struggles, and then they were able to turn it around. I remember when Dabo was hired, everyone was like, who is this guy?
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, it absolutely can work, and certainly hoping for the best there. We'll take a quick time out, looking ahead now to ULM. Also, I'm sure you saw a lot of the college football weekend there to react to. Also, looking ahead to week 2, big ACC, SEC game in Clemson, Texas A&M, LSU, Texas. So a chance to look ahead towards week 2 in the world of college football. That's all coming back. Again, the number 623-1330 if you want to weigh in. It's Tomahawk Talk, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
Hi, this is Terrence A. Gross. Did you know that there are over 93,000 attorneys in the state of Florida? Both myself and my partner Charles Schuster are two of only 1,000 attorneys who are board-certified civil trial lawyers in this state. Our law firm handles only people that have been injured due to the negligence of another. If you need a personal injury and wrongful death attorney, call Gross & Schuster at 434-3333, 434-3333. You can also visit us at our website at grossandschuster.com.
Hi, Marty Smith here, and my friends at Marathon are really helping you save. Because right now you get 5 cents off every gallon every day with Make It Count rewards from Marathon. Plus, you can earn points for additional savings on fuel, airfare, hotels, and more. It's quick and easy to join. Just visit makeitcount.com/radio or download the free app. So start saving today with Make It Count from Marathon. Offer valid only at participating Marathon locations. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions. Like Company Pages, where you can get people excited about working for you. And we give you this toy monkey, which will bang its cymbals when the right resume appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey!
But Company Pages, for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo to try Company Pages for free. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station, your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Tomahawk Talk on a Wednesday. ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. Joe Ford and Terry Gross with you each and every Wednesday, breaking down the Noles. And ULM comes to town on Saturday. Terry, is this a game that you were out in Tallahassee on Saturday? You heading out for this one, or you're staying home?
No,
here?
I'll stay home and watch this one. I get my tickets away. Never waste the tickets.
Yeah.
But I'll be watching. It'll be 4 Central. And I expect a better play. I don't know anything about them, but again, I just expect a good win and lots of players. But it doesn't mean we cured everything. So yes, it's a chance to maybe experiment more. I still don't. I'm not sold on the 3-4, but we do have breaking news. We might as well share it with the public. You just showed us, Joe. So there's a SEC team that has now got another individual in the portal. That just Tennessee. I don't know if you noticed, but Smokey, their mascot, has just entered the portal. So maybe we don't know where Smokey's going, but they lost. They lost to Georgia State. So I know we lost to Boise State, and I'm not beating my chest, but I think Boise State's a lot better than Georgia State.
Yeah, Smokey the dog, the mascot there. He's out. I saw a sign on game day. I think it was my girlfriend entered the transfer portal or something like that. But yeah, so Smokey is gone. Apparently, as are the Tennessee Volunteers, and who knows, maybe Jeremy Pruitt is on his way out after that. Tennessee, by the way, we were talking about this last hour. They play BYU at home. I'm not sure they win that one either. BYU lost to Utah, but I thought they were a pretty solid team, so it wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee's looking at 0-2 in the face. Going around the ACC horn here, we saw Clemson on Thursday night. Trevor Lawrence didn't look great. I mean, he had a couple of really great throws. Travis Etienne, they're talking about him as a Heisman favorite after week 1, 52-14 win over Georgia Tech. Another game, kind of putting a feather in the cap, if you will, for the ACC. North Carolina, I think they won, 2 games last year? Something like that. Now Mac Brown is in charge, and it was nice to see Mac back in the college game and just how emotional he was. But the quarterback who led North Carolina to the win, I guess, maybe a little bittersweet because he could be playing for the Noles, but
he was a long-time commit. He was our 4-star commit. He was who we were relying on, and that's why we relaxed on. That's why we got blanked, because we thought we had him wrapped up, and they didn't really go for any more quarterbacks. And he was from North Carolina. Mac Brown came back. I think his father had a lot to do with it. But he was a true freshman, got the start, and they were down to South Carolina. South Carolina was, looked like they're going to win the game. He led them from behind and won a close game. So it's a big win for UNC, big win for Howe, a true freshman.
Absolutely. Boston College winning 35-28 over Virginia Tech. Virginia 30-14 over Pittsburgh. I expected that one to be a little closer. But looking at around the ACC here, was there anything that else that really stood out to you that you were able to see?
What you have on the screen, they're picking as another top ACC team. Not really a sleeper. They were 9-3 last year. Syracuse.
Yeah.
So they've lost their quarterback. They had Dungy last year. And they played Liberty, so it doesn't mean much, but 24-0. But everybody thinks that they got it going on, that Syracuse is going to be a good opponent. So we got to play them as well in October. So it's not going to get a lot easier for us. We have an easy weekend this weekend, Virginia away. Then we play Louisville, which still I think Louisville's going to be much better than they were last year. And then, of course, we got Clemson, still got Miami, we still got Florida. NC State always plays us tough. So God only knows where we're going to end up. Wake Forest still, they're not that good, but they played us close last year.
Yeah. Season of close games may be on the horizon here for Florida State. Couple of big games, of course, looking ahead to this weekend, Terry. We saw Auburn and Oregon. Going into that game, I really thought Oregon would come out with the win there, but it was Auburn. Bo Nix, I thought, looked great. Auburn fans have to be very excited about how the future looks at the quarterback position. Looking ahead, ACC and Clemson, SEC in Texas A&M. Read a stat earlier that since Trevor Lawrence has taken over as the starting quarterback, Clemson has not won a game by fewer than 20 points. The one time it was 20 points. It was on the road against Boston College. You mentioned Syracuse as I know a lot of people are kind of pinpointing the Clemson-Syracuse game as a game of where if Clemson were to be upset in ACC play, it might be there because I believe that one is on the road. Trevor Lawrence was hurt in the last game last year, and that was at home. So, yeah, at Syracuse there. But lots to look forward to in the ACC. And then, of course, the other big game, the only game featuring two top 10 teams, LSU and Texas. Texas hosting that one.
Yeah, and LSU could be their year too. They've been waiting, and they're right at the cusp. So we'll see. But I got to talk about another Heisman potential candidate. It's a guy you probably never heard of. First-year quarterback at Oklahoma.
Yeah, first-year quarterback.
and look what Oklahoma, but look what Riley's done out there. So
tell you what,
God, but he has these quarterbacks for 1 year, and they end up winning the Heisman and go to the NFL. What a dream place! But Jalen Hurts, he was 26-2 at Alabama. 26-2, and lost his starting position. Where else in America do you lose? And the kid is talented, and he actually could throw the ball better. He played that one game last year where I think Tua got hurt or whatever, and he looked good.
Title game.
Yeah, and we know he could run, and which is not what the NFL wants. But I think he's got a lot of talent. He's in my top 3 Heismans.
Yeah. Jalen certainly has to be up there, and there's a lot of great quarterback play. We saw the Georgia transfers, Justin Fields at Ohio State, Jacob Eason out at Washington. Tua was Tua, of course, as he was, I think 26-31 there. So a lot of outstanding quarterback performances. But it was interesting, you brought up Jalen Hurts out at Oklahoma and how there was a lot being said about Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray as quarterback prospects, and now it almost seems like the conversation has kind of changed to how maybe it's more to do with who's the one calling the plays, as Lincoln Riley now is probably the most talked about coach, and he's already being pegged for the Dallas Cowboys next year or whatever the case may be. But Oklahoma certainly a force to be reckoned with there. So surprising that there is a coach in America who can take an Alabama player and make him look better than what Alabama was able to do. That you don't see that happen very often.
Crazy, but he is the quarterback whisperer. They used to say that of Jimbo, but I'm really thinking Lincoln Riley, and just taking these guys and they've traded around. I mean, Baker Mayfield was all over the place as far as, I think he went 2 or 3 schools.
Texas Tech.
And somewhere else before that, I think.
I think so.
and
Kyler Murray was at A&M, I think.
Right, and then just taking these guys, and none of them are really big in stature either, so they're not your prototypical NFL quarterbacks, and I think they'll do well in the NFL too.
We'll take our final timeout. Coming back, we'll look ahead to Saturday, FSU and ULM. What do we want to see improvement the most in? Coming back on Tomahawk Talk, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
Hi, this is Terrence A. Gross. Did you know that there are over 93,000 attorneys in the state of Florida? Both myself and my partner Charles Schuster are two of only 1,000 attorneys who are board-certified civil trial lawyers in this state. Our law firm handles only people that have been injured due to the negligence of another. If you need a personal injury and wrongful death attorney, call Gross & Schuster at 434-3333, 434-3333. You can also visit us at our website at grossandschuster.com.
Yeah, so much rhythm. Babysitting your kids while they play the jazziest jazz I've ever heard jazzed is totally fine. But what's actually frustrating is the check you're handing me and the days it will take to clear. Next time, just send me money with Zelle.
Night out better. Pay your sitter easily with Zelle. Look for Zelle in your banking app.
Must have a bank account in the U.S. to use Zelle. Zelle is an early warning services trademark.
This is Davis Allen, co-host of Sports Call with Davis and Justin. Catch Justin, Patrick, and me every Saturday from 11 to 1. College football is finally back, so join us this Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola is now on 1330 FM 99.1.
We're still doing this, right? This is actually happening. We're going to let this happen.
You can also listen anywhere. ESPNpensacola.com.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Tomahawk Talk, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. Joe Ford and Terry Gross here last segment as we're looking ahead to Florida State and ULM on Saturday. So that's a 4 o'clock game on Saturday there. A couple of depth chart notes coming out of week number 1. Levante Taylor no longer listed as the starter at strong safety. Cyrus Fagan and Akeem Dent will now man the position there. Taylor no longer listed on the depth chart. Also, the reserve punt returner is now Keyshawn Helton. Freshman defensive back Travis J. He's out due to an academic eligibility issue. So those are 2 changes there. But Terry, in the last couple of minutes we have left here, it's ULM. Should be a W, but you also want to see really good improvement on the execution. The momentum that Kendall Briles talked about, just the flow of the game. And certainly defensively, there's a lot to work on there. A couple of takeaways that you'll be looking to see on Saturday.
Probably where you and I'll agree. Number one, I want to see us establish the run. It may be more boring, not as glitzy, but I want to see us establish the run. And also, I would like to see us give our receivers a chance, hit them on the run with 10 and 15-yard passes. Maybe they can extend it and do whatever, but make the passes easier and quicker and avoid the sacks. Defensively, I see no reason why this team should have over 300 yards total in the game. Giving up 660 is just crazy. So our defense has to show up and not give up these big third down plays. One good thing about last week while we're sitting there pitching, one big improvement, we led the nation last year in penalties. I think we only had 5 or 6, so we weren't really penalized. For the first game of the season wasn't so bad. You remember the Gators, Miami, how flags were flying every play, so neither team got penalized a lot, which is a good thing. And the penalties we have are ticky-tack. They weren't the real bad ones. I saw one where we were chasing the quarterback out of bounds, and we held up. We used to just spear him as he's going out of bounds. So I'm glad we are playing more intelligently. So that was a good thing. But I'd like to see us run the ball more with multiple running backs and shorter passes.
This should be an opportunity where we talked about the quarterback depth. Maybe getting to see Alex Hornibrook for the first time this year. There's young guys all over the 2 deep. This should be a game where we get to see not just the starters take care of business, but a lot of guys being able to get rotated in. Want to see a lot of guys play. I want to see a lot of guys get game experience. Number two, I'd like to see the secondary just play a lot more aggressively, a lot more man coverage, because as far as the athletes go, there should be no reason why we're talking a week from now about a porous pass secondary again. So I want to see him man up. I want to see athlete on athlete. I just want to see him really on defensively take control of the game. And I certainly agree
fall, and
about
that means football.
About the pass, the running game as well. That's going to do it for us here. Tomahawk Talk, Florida State, 1330 AM FM 99.1.
Sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.